welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast, people. And as you can see, the boys are back with another episode of the Sideline View. And this view is very bright because Chelsea are back in UCL football. We are back in the Champions League and we're back. The Blue Mafia is back. You know, the pride of London is back. And we're here to celebrate. But before we start celebrating, before we start start dancing on the grave of some of our own supporters that think we would fail, because I know Marshall has things to say, and I know Robert has things to say, and I got something to get off my chest as well. You know? But before we get started, please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And share, hit the notification bell for when I upload a new video. And I have some exciting news coming at the end. But before we get started, Marshall, let me introduce the boys. I'm here with Marshall. I'm here with Robert. Marshall, what's going on? Talk to me.
Last I checked, I had a Mickey Mouse club. Well, this Mickey Mouse club is ready to go back into UCL nights and reclaim what is properly ours. Let's go back to UCLs, back to Tuesday's football, Wednesday's football. Let's show the other London clubs how to properly compete in UCL. And this Mickey Mouse club, folks, this Mickey Mouse club tomorrow, or by the time you see this, which Javon, I don't know when you see it, when you're going to release this, but tomorrow.
I might do it after the final. Might drop this on Wednesday because after that final, I don't want it. I want everyone to see this. You know, so we'll talk about the UCL, right?
But
we'll talk about the UCL final.
All I'm saying is that by the time this releases, this Mickey Mouse club will have been the only club to have completed the set. We will have completed football. My American owners, all I can say. My Blue Co American owners. Proud to be in America. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Robert,
I don't have much to say right now, but I'll have more to say
We'll
later.
get into it. Robert, what's going on, my man? What's going on? They ridiculed you all season.
All season.
The deluded one.
The deluded one, they said.
I was deluded. I was toxic positivity. I was
blacklist.
Had no clue. I was Captain Clear Lake. I was, this point director defender. I was, elite recruitment nonsense. All of this. That was me. I was the one that's saying we are going to get Champions League football. No way, no how. We are going to get Champions League football. When we lost against Arsenal, I said we're gonna get Champions League football. We drew against Brentford, we're gonna get Champions League football. We drew against Ipswich, we are going to get Champions League football. In January, people say we need to recall Andrew Santos. Without Andrew Santos, we can make Champions League football. I said no, we're good. Oh, we need to buy a new striker. Man City bought Marmoush. No. Look, Villa went and got Rashford and got Asensio, and they're banging in goals.
That's how you have a window.
Huh?
That's what they said. That's how you're supposed to have a window.
That's how
you're supposed to have a window.
I did say that.
You're supposed to bring in players who help you.
That's how you're supposed to have a window.
Yes.
That is how you're supposed to have a window.
That's how big clubs move. And here we are. Champions League football. And we got Champions League football with 3 points to spare. You know what? We'll give you 3 points to spare just in case. Oh, look at Newcastle. Look at Forest. Newcastle, Villa, and all these clubs. When the pressure was on to deliver on the final day, what did they do?
They folded.
Went on to Old Trafford, crumbled. When at St. James's Park against Everton, who were on the beach, crumbled. Forest at home, crumbled. But the mighty Chiefs, we stood up. And
Believe, brother. Believe.
all of you, lot, it's all fun and game when there's no pressure on you. But when there's pressure,
Cook, Robert.
we really know who the big boys are when there's pressure. And the Newcastle, the Villa, you just small town clubs. We run this thing.
Villa with their championship manager too, right? Isn't
Hey,
he?
I
Wait.
didn't mention championship. I didn't even mention the worst goalkeeper in the league. I didn't even mention the worst striker in the league. I didn't even mention none of these. I didn't even mention that. I didn't even mention one season wonder Cole Palmer. I didn't even mention Enzo Fernandez. Not worse. Oh, Declan Rice is better than him. I didn't even mention none of that. But we digress. We move.
We do move. As you can tell, people, this is going to be a show where we talk about all the banter, Listen. Much like I said on All You Can Eat Chelsea, just celebrate the wins, celebrate the good times, because we're going to we're going to have different episodes where we do the season review, where we get into depth with the season review. We're just here for the fun, right? We're just here to say, hey. But the turn off the match. Exactly, in Champions League football, and we'll enjoy. Now, let me start by saying congratulations, Chelsea Football Club, for making Champions League football. And for people that are saying we're over celebrating, no, we're celebrating clear progression. Last season, we were struggling. The season before, we finished 12th. And a little caveat: there's a big six clubs that did worse than 12th. Dog shit United. But we'll talk about that.
Congratulations on 40 points.
Congratulations. Barely. If there was a better team in the league this season, if one of those promoted sides were better this season, I would have been relegated. But this is not the Manchester United hate show. If you want to see me roast Manchester United, head over to the Yardman podcast and watch our previous episode where dog walked United. But that's another story. We're here to celebrate UCL football, and also shout out to the last performance of the season, the last game of the season. That was a mature performance. That was, okay, we're going to control you guys. Apart from Chris Wood not having his shooting boots on, which I think for me, our defense put him off, because every time he had a shot, there was someone there putting him off his game. You understand? So, apart from Chris Wood doing what he did, we marshaled the game. Marshall, get it? Okay. So we marshaled the game, right? So with that being said, I am extremely proud. And when you check the stats, we won 7 out of the 8 games in our last running at the end, which is better than what Poch did. So all those people that are saying, "Oh, Poch did this, Poch did that," well, Maresca did this and Maresca did that. European Cup final, right? Champions League secure with 3 points to spare. Third best defense in the league. Positive goal difference. So these are the things that I am celebrating. Clear progression, because next season, much like Robert alluded to earlier in one of our episodes in the season, there's no question marks over the defense anymore. We know definitively what we need from what we don't. There's no question marks over should we give Jackson another season. These are clear answers. So then we'll see what we'll do. But Marshall, talk to the boys. Talk to me about how you felt about that game. Let's talk about the game.
That game was proper Chelsea. That's what that game was. Perfect defensive display. And if you guys remember, in the beginning of the season, when everyone was saying, "Oh, we're in a title race. Oh, this and that. Oh, this and that." Up until December, I said, listen, I don't think we're in a title race. And the reason I say this is because this defense needs to get better. And this whole season, I also said this. I think this first season, Maresca's going to learn a lot about the players. The players are going to learn the system. The players are going to adapt. Some players take longer than others. Look at Malo Gusto. Look at, the bad run that Levi Colwell had. Look at the bad patch of form that we had with Nicholas Jackson. He never picked it up.
Reece James to a certain extent.
Reece James to an extent. These players, peaks and troughs, highs and lows, and that's how a season goes. And especially when you're learning a new system, learning what is being asked of you from a manager, sometimes these things take time. And you can see in the beginning of the season, Maresca learning, okay, I can get this team to score goals, but if I do it this way, we can see too many. And we won't always be able to break down a low block. We won't always be able to score more than one goal. I wasn't able to see this team win games by one goal. And then what happened? We went through that rough patch. Maresca learned the deficiencies of the players, what our weaknesses were, where we were losing the game, what was needed of the team. Lavia out for that patch where we were really bad. And it was shown and exposed to the ownership and to the directors, which, to be fair, even though we're bantering about the perfect window and Aston Villa not making top, Champions League, even though they got that window, I still would have preferred a window where maybe we got a backup striker in Kolomuani and on loan, or another option in the midfield. But we made do. But I learned in that time, Lavia is very pivotal, and having a profile like Lavia is pivotal. So kudos to the directors for getting an Asugo or bringing in Santos, and if all goes well, they keep him. That's the backup plan. That's someone that can play that role, that can do that kind of a role on the pitch. And then we go into the latter half of the season, and in the system, we learned how to defend. And some of these defenders, they became men. The very same defenders that we criticize on this show were the same ones that decided to shut up and step up, show some chest, tap the badge, get stuck in, get dirty, stay focused. I gotta give Levi Colwell his props. This guy stepped up. He really did. And this run of games since international break, where we only lost to Newcastle. Since international break, we've only lost, boys. We only lost to Newcastle. If we had beaten Newcastle, if Nicholas Jackson wasn't on that stupidity, I predicted 72 points. We would have been on 72 points. We were on 69.
We would have been on 72 points, and would that be just 3 points behind, 2 points behind Arsenal?
Yeah, the season would have changed. And now you look at how the season has progressed, and we'll discuss this more thoroughly in another show. But you look at how the season's progressed. Maresca's learned the strengths of the offense, the weaknesses of the team, and the strengths of the defense. And you can tell there's been a metamorphosis in this team of, okay, now I know how to shore up this defense. Now I got to figure out how to combine both. Get the best of the attack, the best of the defense, and play total football. And listen, I got to give kudos to Maresca because he's a championship manager, no experience. We had an experienced manager in Pochettino last season fail with these same players. And what does he do? Doesn't make excuses. Doesn't complain about not getting backed in the January window, saying, I need experienced players, all this and that. He did say it, but he made do. He didn't use it as a crutch. He didn't use it as an excuse. He made do. And at the end of the day, results were needed. Results were what was asked for. This is a results-based game. And at the end of the day, Chelsea, we might not play pretty all the time. But at the end of the day, when we get results, we win things. Look at our trophy cabinet. That's results. There weren't always pretty games. There weren't always pretty games.
Look at our trophy cabinet.
Look at the trophy cabinet. And look at it after this video. It will have been complete. Every trophy in the world
would have been complete.
Every trophy Chelsea could have won, you'll see it in our trophy cabinet.
Yes, sir. Robert, let me get your thoughts on the last day.
Well, it was one of those games where you needed the grit, because the first half our attack was very non-existent. I don't know if it's just because we weren't on it, or it's because Forest center backs were just on it on that day, Murillo and the other guy. And so I think it was it was a performance that needed more heart than skills. It needed more
Grit.
yeah, it needed more grit than anything else. So I think what when Maresca said in January or February, the February and March, and said we are a better team now than we were in December.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Chelsea fans looked at him like, you are crazy. Like we got 2 wins in like 10 or in 13, and you say we're a better team now. And I said, yes, I believe we are a better team now because
We're
of
learning from.
what we can, like the adversity that we went through. We are a better team now because we've gone through the hard time and we've come out of it, and we've learned to be a gritty team. We've learned to be a tough team. We've learned to be like everything wasn't rosy. When just we rock up on a day, we're gonna put 4 past you. That stretch had to teach taught these players how to be strong. How to be strong hearted. How to be even in the face of boos, keep your composure and perform anyways. In the
And to
face
be
of
resolute.
yeah, in the face of a little adversity here. Remember when we used to be a team where, or if the opposition score 1 goal, we're done.
Yeah.
Like it used to be, if we score, we can be 1-0 up at halftime. We're like, oh no, this is not good. Like 1-0 up at halftime, we used to be like, oh no, this is not good. And then our players will feel it, our fans will feel it, us watching the games at home will feel it, and the whole thing will capitulate.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we lost most games. We will score first and we end up drawing or losing the game because we didn't yet have that grit. Now we became that team where was the last. Or how many of our last wins were by 1-0? Everton was 1-0.
Everything was 1-0.
Forest was 1-0.
1-0.
United was
It was
1-0.
1-0.
Like those
Yeah.
really wins where you're being asked to dig in. And I'll give Cowell. He had a good 6 weeks. Credit to him. Tosin stepped up. Rhys James came in clutch.
Chalobah.
Chalobah was good. Caicedo incredible. And I think, and most of all, Big Robert Sanchez. He did Big Robert Sanchez came in and did his thing.
I'm not even gonna bash him. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Against
Make
Everton,
clean sheets great again.
Those 2 saves against Everton, clutch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That save against Man United against Ahmad at the near post, clutch.
The cross-claiming in Forest.
Cross-claiming against Forest. Like he nullified the aerial threat.
Yeah.
Like,
He single-handedly.
He was coming and he wasn't even punching, he just come grab and comes down with it. Like over Chris Wood, grab it and comes down with it. You know what I mean? And so everybody stepped up. It's credit to the entire team and credit to Maresca and credit to the growth that Maresca has had, the team has had overall. And hey, we reap the fruit of our labor, and hopefully we make a couple addition and long may it continue. Long may the success continue, man.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Like I said at the start of the show, I'm celebrating clear progression. The progression in the development of the team, the development of the mentality of this team. Started the season, yes, the team found out that under the system we can score a bunch of goals, but when we would get transitioned against, we were so open, we were so fragile. Over the course of the season, especially at the end of the season, I think that was built. Now, going forward, there's not that big doubt anymore that if we concede one or if we concede a few, our team is going to completely capitulate. Now I'm of the mindset that, hey, if we had a few pieces going into next season, we're going to be a serious problem. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking for a title run next season.
Same.
No Mickey Mouse thing. No Mickey Mouse title
Same.
run. No Arsenal title run. I'm just looking forward towards that. But we'll talk about that in a later show. Now, when we look at the Premier League table, we are 5 points off Arsenal. I think we're 3 points off You City. Go ahead, Robert.
We won the same exact amount of games as Arsenal did this season.
Sure.
They just drew more than we did, but we both
Mhm.
had 20 wins this season.
We're 2 points off City, 3 points off City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So listen, I'm gonna take City out of this because they had, by their standards, they had a poor season. And if we're winning the same amount of games as Arsenal, next season we can turn some of those, because we had 9 draws and 9 losses. We can turn some of those losses into draws and turn 8 of those draws into wins.
Mm-hmm.
Boys, we're looking at a title run. We're looking at finishing with 80 plus points, 90 plus points.
Yeah.
And we can get into what caused those draws, because if we flip the Ipswich score, that should have been 6 points. We're above Arsenal already. We are above Arsenal already into second
Mm-hmm.
place. But you get what I'm saying? So my whole basis of what I just said is we're not far off. And majority of the fans felt like this coming into the season. And the way we completed the season says that. What are your thoughts on that, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, when you consider where we are, where we finished the season at, you know, as you said, just is it 5 points off Arsenal, 3 points
Four.
of Man,
Yeah, 5 points. 5 points.
yeah, 3 points off City, third best defense in the league. Even with our two best goal scorers going to the worst stretch of their careers, end up with the seventh best attack in the league. You know, uh, Newcastle with better striker, better wingers, outscored us by only 4 goals all season. Yeah, so it stands to reason that when you add a better, I'll say better center back play, you add better wing play, and you add a striker that will compete with Jackson. I'm thinking, yeah, I've been on record saying this season is top four, next season is challenging, the season after is winning. I've long said we're gonna win a title or a major trophy within the next 3 years, and it seems like we seem to be on that trajectory where we have great additions coming in. We already have Esteval and Andre Santos coming in. We have Isugu coming in already.
Guys.
Kenji Paez, this is gonna be made. We link to strikers left and right. We're probably gonna get a center back in, and so we're gonna get a left winger, at the very least one. And yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it's gonna next season we're gonna be and seeing what everybody is all the other teams are linked to, like Man City. I mean, Shirky and Morgan Gibbs White. With all due respect, I'm not impressed. Liverpool with Florian Wirtz spending 150 million on a player. I'm just saying, as I said on my tweet, Kai Havertz was Wirtz before Wirtz was Wirtz, and I'll believe the hype when I see it in the Premier League.
To be fair,
So
Verts was Verts before Kai Havertz was Kai Havertz, but
no. No.
Verts picked up that ACL injury and then he came back. So don't do that. I've been tracking Verts for a minute now.
Yeah,
He
but
was supposed to be the front runner before Kai Havertz, but that injury pulled him back.
yes,
And it was a good thing too, because look at where Kai Havertz is.
but that's what I'm saying. Bundesliga, great. I would believe in the Prem when I see it. And Arsenal, yeah, they got links to players. We'll see what they end up with. But I think we are in a very strong position, and we are going to next season. I don't know. My only apprehension, again, my pet peeve about Chelsea Football Club is whether or not fans are gonna be behind the team. That's the only thing. I don't have any doubt that the team will perform. I don't have any doubt that the manager will perform. I just wonder if the fans gonna come along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Marshall, what are your thoughts in regards to where do we see Chelsea go from here, and your thoughts on the season?
I mean, if you thought we could attract players before, I'm just saying.
How about
If
now?
you thought we could attract players before, if you thought Enzo and Moises was the best we can do, that's all I'll say. No,
What
I'm just
until you see?
kidding. No, I think. I
Um,
think.
I thought I heard Garnacho.
No,
Imagine
no,
pool.
not from my mouth, not from my mouth. No,
Imagine
not from
the
me.
pool with
No.
UCL. Let me let you have it, bro.
Yeah, let me not.
Let me
No.
let you have. Let me let you have
Listen,
the section, guys.
with UCL now, the world opens up a little more, right? I would be deluded to think that all of a sudden we're gonna go for the Lewandowskis of the world and the Musialas of the world and all this and that. Like, I'd be deluded to think that. I still think there's gonna be some semblance of strategy and how we go about our targets, semblance of team building, so on and so forth, right? There's gonna be players that and profiles that complement Maresca. And especially considering what we saw this season, we know the positions we need. We talked about it. Striker, center back. We'll figure out the goalkeeping situation. Listen, kudos to Robert and kudos to this Robert as well. But hey, you don't have to watch him at Chelsea. That's all I have to say. But Petrovic is coming back. We'll see how he does. He's had a fantastic season at Strasbourg. You have midfielders coming in now in Santos, Uguchuku. Let's see how as Isugo plays out as well. There's a lot of talent coming to the club, and there will be more talent. But in terms of how the season played out, it to an extent, we look at the stats, and yeah, I do believe what Javon was saying. Next season, I want a title charge. I want a challenge for the title. And listen, if we don't win it, that's fine. But let's be in the conversation. Because early in the season, we weren't in the conversation. We were like, the trailer. That's what the beginning of the season was. It was that extended trailer, a little bit of director's cut here and there, all that. But then we postponed the movie. So
it doesn't come out anymore.
It doesn't come out anymore. It got canceled. We fired the director. He did something stupid on Twitter 5 years ago. So yeah. So now we need to get a new director or whatever, and we move from there. But listen, the thing that excites me the most about now the team going forward, now that we've succeeded what we have, now that we have the data, right, that shows everything that happened this season, the ball is now on the director's court. And to what Robert was saying as well, I think and I really hope that now Chelsea fans can trust Maresca a little more. It wasn't until top 4 happened where I started hearing, I forgot how the Maresca song went. I forgot how the Maresca song went.
Yeah, no.
And so I forgot how it went because they hadn't sung it since December.
Yeah.
And now they're finally back in the club. Now they're finally back in the team. Like even in that Nottingham Forest game, like to hear the Chelsea fans in a Forest fans, pun intended. Like it was nice to hear it because just like this whole like I know. Listen, I understand to an extent. We're overdoing it. We're just having a laugh, celebrating and stuff. I think all of us are happy that we're back in UCL, but we all understand that this is where the standard is now, right? And we go ahead.
Can I quickly check in on that? This is not the standard for the club. I want to attack that, Richard. It's not a standard thing. The fan base needs to understand things for what it is. We are expecting our clubs here, but the spending and where the squad experience and squad quality is currently here.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. So achieving UCL football is good for this squad. Earlier in the season, Robert posed the question, while we all want Champions League football, is it better for the squad to go to the Europa League, compete at a better competition than the Conference League, and win that to then go to UCL football? That's still a true argument.
Yeah.
And I'm being 100%. I'm not joking around. That's still a true argument because this team, if you're not going to bring in players that are going to propel this team to add to its already good quality and make it better
Yes.
to be at the level of Champions League to potentially win the Champions League football, this team needs to develop. And because we're already in Champions League, if they don't add the quality we're asking for, you cannot then put the expectation on a team to go in and win the Champions League.
No,
Because they have
I
to gain
understand.
experience through the difficult times. It's
See-
almost like a club that has never won the Champions League. You almost have
Yeah.
to lose a final before you can win a final.
No, and I agree. And this is the thing. There are a lot of Chelsea fans that when they look at the history of the club, they look at everything from the Roman era to this, and then they say, oh, the standard this, the standard that. The way I see it is Roman in that era, bless Roman, thank you for everything you've done. But once Blue Coat came in, they ripped it out. We're starting fresh, new foundation, new building, new structure, new regime, new everything. Standard also goes with it. Now there's a new standard. So the way I've seen the club progress, starting off at 12th, which was not nice. It was not nice. But all of us at the time said, okay, surely this is temporary. We got a little bit of a scare with Pochettino because he kept us in that area for a while. We're like, okay, maybe we're stuck here. Maybe we're stuck here.
Okay.
And then he decided to, let me invert Cucurella, which I did in the summer, and let me start getting some results. And then we got into 6. I was like, okay, we made some progress. And I think the directors expected better progress, so that's why they left on mutual consent. This season, we celebrate milestones. Under this regime is the first time we've actually qualified legitimately. Didn't get it from the last regime. We actually legitimately qualified for UCL. And upon releasing this video, hopefully, unless all of our players decide to, get injured and lightning strikes twice, and all this and that, and we don't win, but unless that happens, then it will also be the first trophy and European trophy that this ownership have won.
And
so then from there, you start building this squad and the ownership, though. Then from there, you start building the standard again. And I'm hoping, and this is what I said. I don't know if you guys remember. I said a while ago, I'm worried that if we don't get UCL, we'll start to normalize not being a UCL competing team. And I don't want to normalize that. I want to be competing in UCL every season. All of us do. I know, and all of us understand it's not the end all be all, but it's about establishing a new standard now for the club. And one thing I want to touch on too, to just close out about the whole end of the season, all that stuff. Next season, I don't want to hear any more of this inexperienced squad, this inexperienced squad, that inexperienced squad, this. How do you gain experience? Through playing games, through going through seasons, through going through tough patches, through going through winning trophies, through going through when your own fan base is against you, when it's you against the world, and you still prosper, you still succeed, you rise above it, and then you exceed the expectations that everyone put on you. That gives you experience. You don't think after the season that we just had, these players aren't better for it? You don't think now they have the mentality that we always criticize them about? Because at the end of the day, I remember saying, I know these players have the mentality. They showed it last season at the end of the season that they can pick it up. So something about that gives me the confidence that they can turn it around. And they showed it. They have the mentality. And now that they experienced that, now they know, boys, if we do this all season, we can definitely challenge Liverpool. We can definitely challenge City. We can definitely challenge Arsenal. Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, Cucurella, Reece James, Cole, even Nico. I'll throw him in there. I don't care. Levi Colwell. All these players now experience another season. And they are better for it now. So now they are becoming the experienced team. So listen, I still think we can get some better players in this team. I still think a striker, someone who, isn't developing. Rodrigo. Yeah. I still think players that don't necessarily need to develop can come into this club, but don't tell me next season, oh, this is an inexperienced team. No, this team is now more experienced than they were 2 years ago and last year. They learned a lot in those last 2 seasons, and kudos to them, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Robert, go ahead.
No, this is to piggyback off of what Marshall just is ending point there. This is why I was when people were telling me when I was saying this is the recruitment. Our recruitment is such so that we don't want to go and overspend on experienced players. Either experienced player with no quality, overspend with experienced player with quality, but who you're not sure whether they're gonna work at Chelsea Football Club or not. We've tried it with the Koulibalys and the Sterlings and the Lukakus and the Aubameyang. Experience, quality, but just didn't work out at the club. Thankfully, a few of them were lucky enough. Saudi came in and took them from us, but we still stuck with Sterling here, right? Because we want to go get what we perceive as Premier League quality and experience, but that experience and quality hasn't really translated to much here at Chelsea Football Club. And so my point has always been our strategy, our model is we recruit these players, of quality. Experience, you can acquire experience. But you can bring in Jordan Henderson. He's never gonna learn how to pass the ball like Enzo Fernandez will. Right? You can bring in an experienced number 10, I don't know, the experienced number 10 who's not as quality of a Cole Palmer. Like, he's experienced, but he's never gonna be able to have the quality of a Cole Palmer. But you can bring in a Cole Palmer, an Enzo Fernandez, a Caicedo, a Cucurella, a Pedro Neto, players of quality, and within 2 or 3 years, they're gonna gain the experience, and they become experienced players, right? They become experienced players, and then they Caicedo. Now Caicedo is an experienced player. Now Isugu comes in. Now he's learning from Caicedo, right? Now you have Esteval coming in. Now you got Pedro Neto. Now you have Kendrick Price coming in. Now he's learning from an Enzo Fernandez or a Cole Palmer. And that's the conveyor belt that keeps on going and going and going.
The conveyor
That's
belt.
how our recruitment strategy has always been. For people that always go, oh no, go get me Kevin De Bruyne because it's free. Go get me, this experienced player. No, we want quality. If there's a quality and experience there that's attainable, yes, we'll go and get it. Like, let's say a Tosin. Experience, not much quality, but he's proven his worth. As a free transfer, he's been a serviceable backup center back for us. When there's games where we need physicality and aerial dominance, he comes in.
Nottingham Forest. Perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you can get somebody like that, yes, if you can get somebody like that's of a higher quality than a Tosin, yes, bring him in. But to say just go overspend just because they're experienced in quality, unfortunately, we've been burned too many times off of that. And so what we've now created is an environment where not only these players are growing in experience, but they're growing in togetherness, in camaraderie. And so you have a actual team environment. And so this is like, we're gonna have players, and we have this camaraderie, we have this togetherness, and we're growing in experience together. And you're gonna have the people that are gonna be disgruntled, like in Kuku. Hey, you gotta go. You're gonna have people that's gonna moan that they didn't play in time, like Renato Vega. As much as we like him, brother, you got bad vibes.
Yeah,
no,
that's a thing. Don't laugh. That's a thing.
No, he's not wrong.
Felix, you
I just didn't
moaning
expect
and
you to say
crying and
that.
whatever. Hey, we're gonna ship you out to Milan. We're gonna if we need to throw you in the bomb squad so that you don't mess up the vibe of the team, we're gonna throw you in the bomb squad.
Yeah.
And we're gonna bring the Tyreek George on, the Joshua Champong, to have people that have a good camaraderie. They get along. They're growing together. They're going through adversity together and getting the experience together. And then once we click, it's dominance from there on. Like, once we have like a good level of experience with an Enzo, a Caicedo, a Lavia, a Cole Palmer, a Cucurella, a Reece James there, Gusto, Neto. Once you have that core of experienced players and of quality players, then all the young players will bring on, they're gonna learn from those guys, because those guys has been doing. They'll be like, you come here, this fan base is a tricky one. This is how you handle it. This is how you handle it. This is how you handle it. You can't be doing this. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing this. It's so good. You come in the Premier League. You can't be tackling like that. You're gonna get sent off. Instead, you gotta do this. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Oh, Kendrick Pires, you come in here. It's fast paced, brother. You gotta press. You can't be dwelling too long on the ball. That's the wisdom that Enzo bestowed upon Kendrick Pires, for instance. And we grow, bro, and the experience and the dominance continue. We're not just trying to do a one-off thing.
Yeah.
We make the Champions League. We are trying to live this thing for the next decade plus. Every year, that's the minimum. And competing for every title, for competing for every cup. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we're trying to achieve. That's what our recruitment has been based off of. A lot of people have not been able to grasp that idea yet because it's stuck with the and I understand it's hard to get from the Roman way of doing things. It's like, who's the best number 9? Lukaku. Yeah, get him over here. Who's the best right back? Oh, this guy. Yeah, get him over here. That's not the way we do things. That's the Roman. We were successful with that. We are grateful for Roman for that, but that's not how the world works these days, Yeah. And the way we do things now, I think it's for a long-term dominance and a long-term sustained success that we can continue to with the same team, with the same player, acquiring the experience and the togetherness that's required to dominate at the highest level.
Yeah, so I understand what you guys are saying. Is it more so? Would you guys saying, based on both of you guys' point of view, would you guys say it's more so a metamorphosis of the club, a big change? Because Marshall, you alluded to it's not the Roman era anymore. First thing they did was rip out everything that Roman did, put in their own people. Robert, you're saying when it comes on to the recruitment, we're not signing. We're for the core of the team and for the span of the team, we're not signing we're not signing the top of the top guy that's 27, 28, more so the prime man to the end of their career anymore. We're signing them young, having them grow and go through these tricky experiences to develop a conveyor belt of young players. So when they hit their prime, they're already here because it's kind of pointed in this direction based on the long contracts. Because by the time the Enzos, the Palmers, the Cowells, and the core players, the Netos, by the time they hit their prime, it should be 27, 28, where football is clicking and everything in their nature. We should be having the next set of people coming through, and then we should be picking up trophies by then. So it sounds like that's what you guys are alluded to, and it gets to a point where, hey, this is genuinely a new Chelsea, same color, same badge, but the fabric and the DNA of the club has changed. The big question about it is it changing for the better? That's still to be answered. But the way the club is going right now, and for what it is at this current moment, I don't want to celebrate me being back in the UCL. Just that champion.
I can watch football Tuesdays and Wednesdays again. Yes. It's so nice.
The schedule changes.
Yeah.
We don't play every Sunday now. We get a few Saturdays.
Javon, that was the worst, bro. I hated doing oh man, Sunday games were the worst. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't think this just relates to Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea, we're trendsetters, Amortization, that was us. Recruiting young, that was us. I'm just saying, selling to ourselves, that was us.
Finding loopholes for fun and then closing them. Oh yeah,
that was us. That was us. Right? But no, I think one thing I gotta give the ownership is that I think for them to come into this game not knowing much about the game itself, right? I think one thing they did that is noticeable, not only just at Chelsea, but in football, is they did their research. They did their homework and they studied the game. And for them, although you could say they're doing this for profit and all this and that, whatever you want, at the end of the day, time will tell with that, right? And a lot of people have said it. The best way to make money in this game is to succeed. And I think they have that in mind, right? They want to make the most amount of money out of Chelsea, and they have to do that while sustaining the wages, while getting a new stadium, getting the right front of shirt sponsorship, getting right partnerships across the world, so on and so forth, right? It's a whole game for them. And one thing I think they did was they studied the game. And they're still learning, but they did a lot of research really quickly, because what I think is happening in football in terms of how we built this team, I think football, the landscape of football is changing. I genuinely believe that there won't be that many Galactico signings anymore. I like when you look at the wage structures for a lot of these players, when you look at how much these players' transfer fees are going to, it's getting to a point where it's just not sustainable. Why do you think the Osimhen deal right now is going on? As far as I'm aware, and as far as we know, it looks like he's going to Saudi. And that to me, and Alexis said this perfectly, the Kafka's View, shout out to Kafka's View. He said this perfectly.
Shout out, Alexis.
Either your wages are unreasonable or this is a smokescreen. Because if Saudi's the only club in for you, that's a big sign for me that you are being unreasonable with your wages. And I think clubs are starting to say, you know what? We have tools to scout. We can find the best talents in the world. We're going to use that. And we're going to develop our players. And we're going to save money that way. We're going to develop incentivized structures. We're not going to start paying the Kylian Mbappe wages to everyone that comes in. They've seen how many times clubs have gotten burnt from those transfers.
Just
how many flop signings still happen to this day? It happens all the time. Look at Højlund. You know? I'm sorry. Every center back gets a highlight reel off of Højlund, bro.
United in the mud.
No, but let's be real. Look at Højlund. 72,000 euros.
72 million euros, bro.
Marsh, you're gonna do him like that.
Do him like that. He's a
I am gonna
scrub.
do him like that.
And it's for United. Do it all day, bro. Do it all day. Don't stop. Don't ever stop.
You're mean. You're like mean.
Robert, you hate United as much as I do. Don't do this.
They're already finishing 16. There's no need to throw dirt.
They got past 40 points. They'll get over it. They'll get over it.
United in the mud, blood.
But you look at some of these signings, right, and how they backfire on these clubs. And it's not just us. City are doing it too. Arsenal are starting to do it. Look at the signings Liverpool are doing. They're not expensive worldly signings. They're not giving the highest wages. It's all manageable. It's all, trying to figure out the transfer window, trying to figure out the best way to build the best club while also sustaining the club. Because let's be honest, I think football is becoming a way to make money now. It's not just about the football. I hate to say it this way, and I know it's sad for a lot of people, but hey, listen, we live in reality, not in La La Land. And I think a lot of Americanization of sports is spreading across the world.
It's not only that,
and you're starting to see that.
It's not only that, Marshall. Long gone are the days where every football club was in millions of dollars of debt. It's not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore.
Back in my prime of football, which was early 2010.
No, same. Yeah,
majority of the top 6 club, including the top 3 in Spain, the top 4 or 5 in Italy, all of them had one common factor. Everybody was millions of dollars in debt. Now, they may still have debt on there, but it's acceptable debt. You understand? So long gone are the days where that is happening. No, everyone is towing the line with profit and sustainability. And I'm not just saying because of the sanctions, but actually making sure this club is profitable long-term and can keep on going. So that's why you see everyone tiptoeing around that line. Yes, you'll get your 120 million on a words here and there because, again, they just won the title. They get the money for that. They get the money for being in Champions League.
Yeah.
And when you look onto us, we get the Champions League money. We get however the cash money is if we win the UECL. But then we're also in the Club World Cup. We get participation money and a big cash prize if we win that.
I'm happy you mentioned that because I was going to say another thing, and this is another thing, kudos to the ownership, because a lot of people were criticizing, oh, profit, they're not making money, they're not running the club. Bro, we're getting money. One, for where we finished in the Premier League. Two, UCL money. Three, Club World Cup money. Four, front of shirt sponsor money coming now.
Jordan kit deal. Don't, hey. Jordan,
Yeah.
I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting
Jordan
on
kit deal.
I want to do it.
And five,
you.
guys, we have so many players we need to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So this window
Could be an
these guys are
explosive.
rolling in the dough.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. This window. Hey, the money is
All
here.
about the money.
It's all
All about the money.
about the money. It's
All about
here.
the money.
We're rich.
And another. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Robert. I'll go after you.
You guys are spot on that clubs don't see the value in a 28-year-old buying a 20-year-old player on 100 million and pay them 3 or 400K a week. There's no value in that anymore. Players are getting good early at early age. Like, you've never seen a 17-year-old as good as Jamal before. And so Jamal just got signed a contract with Barcelona. Where is he going to get paid 350K a week? You know, when all bonuses are gathered. Like the best players, like Liverpool are starting Vert. How old is Vert? 20, 22?
21? He's hella young, bro.
Yeah, Musiala, young. You know, you get the like we all every club is looking for strikers, and the two oldest and best strikers are the one with the least amount of market. Nobody want Osimhen because of his wage demand, and Gyökeres. Arsenal is the only one going in for him. I mean, Arsenal is debating: should we go for Šeško? Should we go for Gyökeres? Like, if Arsenal does not get Gyökeres, where does Gyökeres go? But
He's
you
gonna
know,
have to jump. Yeah.
but you know, for Šeško, if Arsenal says no to Šeško, Chelsea in for Šeško. If Ekitike, they say no to Chelsea, say no to him. Liverpool want Ekitike. Dilap, you want him by Chelsea, United, Everton, Newcastle. Everyone want Dilap, right? And so that is not only on the footballing or on the player standpoint, even from the coaching standpoint. Like the coaches that would need these players are no longer viable. Like Conte, he just won the league, and then maybe Napoli wants to go a different direction than he wants to go to.
They want to go to
He's
Allegri.
leaving.
Ciao.
Yeah, you get the Inter coach. Boom, he's going to where? Saudi. Ancelotti.
Wait, is that confirmed?
Younger. Yeah, it's getting close.
No, I don't think it's concerned. I don't think it's confirmed, but
I was gonna say.
I think, but even Inzaghi, he's flexible enough to want to go for younger strikers now. So
yeah, and you have Ancelotti replaced by a younger coach, and like the virtue of these coaches that say, you know what, I want experience. Now there's clubs like, no, you come here. We need you to coach these young players, mold them into who we want them to be. We don't want the 28-year-old, and also that discourages the players to want to run on, unless you leaving on a free, like a Rudiger for us, then they will get you. But it discourages the player for trying to
run down their contract,
manufacture a move mid-contract. Like if Caicedo saying, at 27, I want to leave Chelsea. You still have 3 or 4 years left on your contract. Who's gonna pay 120 million for you that Chelsea would want? Nobody, because they'd be like, you know what? There's a new Caicedo that we just scouted in Peru, and that brother you can get for 4 million, and it's gonna turn into the new Caicedo in what?
I hope so.
3 years. So that is
for my country's sake. I hope
that is just the way football clubs are gonna operate nowadays. And again, it's been a struggle for Chelsea fans to move from the old way of Roman doing things to this. It's been a hard transition, and I've been here to hold your hand to the whole thing. I've been telling you, good old Grandpa Roman was fantastic. We had a great time. But it's time to move past that, because the landscape of football has changed.
Yes,
now you looked at how everybody's trying to do things now. Everybody's trying to follow the Chelsea model. buy them young, go scout them young,
Amortization.
and then hopefully you come. If you find that one difference maker that you want instantly, like Liverpool are finding in Verts, yeah, you can splash the cash on that. But nobody's gonna splash the cash on an Osimhen that's an old striker that's demanding. Nobody's interested in those types of players anymore because every team, every club want a player that will come in and fit within the culture and fit within what the coach is trying to do. Nobody's gonna come and say, we just got Osimhen. Change everything you do to fit Osimhen. No club is doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Even
And
Mbappe had to adjust to Real Madrid.
yeah,
You know,
and
Rafinha had to adjust.
to
Even
Barcelona.
to Barcelona. Dembele, that's playing first time a PSG. Like you can't go there and say, I'm Osimhen. This is where I play, and this is the only place I'm gonna play, and this is how you're gonna play me, and this is the only way you get the best out of me, and therefore change everything else to suit me. No chance. Nobody's doing that anymore. So let's go. Football is changing. I think our owners, credit to them, they saw that early. They saw the PSR and FFP, hurdles coming through. Even not only the Prem, but also La Liga. Like Barcelona doesn't sign those top signing anymore. They're relying on their
Academy.
mostly because the financial regulation have handicapped them. To the point where you sign Danny Olmo, you don't have him registered until January.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just how football is now.
I know Daniel Olmo just looks out of place at times.
Yeah,
Over there,
and
based on that.
that's just how it is now. And we gotta come to grips with appreciate what we had, but let it be in the past.
Yeah.
Let's support what we have now.
It's a different era
Exactly.
of football.
Accept things for what they are.
Exactly. Let's cheer the players that we have, and let's focus on our own club and our own success. Stop looking at what the rivals are doing. Stop envying every little signing that Man City or Liverpool or United do, but focus on what Chelsea is doing and embrace what Chelsea is doing and cheer it up. And let's back the club and let's back our players, let's back our manager, and let's all get success together rather than just moping and moaning. Oh no, we used to be this, we used to be that. Oh, back in the days. Oh, look, under Mourinho. Oh, Tuchel, we used to. No, it serves no good to this current squad whatsoever.
Yeah, and it brings them down. One last point I wanted to touch on before we get out of here because it's late at the time of recording this. We've mentioned Osimhen a few times. I still don't have a problem if we bring in an Osimhen type player once he accepts that. Listen, brother man, if you're not gonna go to Saudi, no one's gonna pay your wages, brother. It's just the landscape of football right now. So you either fit in. I'm not saying your past accomplishments shouldn't play a role into how much you get paid, but don't be asking for Ronaldo, Messi money, bad man. Come down to the Cole Palmer brilliant season type of money. A solid 200 a week with bonuses. If it's even to say, I'll take a 180, but I'll take a goal bonus. Top scorer for us at the end of the season. You get a 30% bonus or something like that. You get us UCL football, a title bonus. Something like that, because it helps the development of that younger striker. Because there's certain positions we still can't play around with this whole development thing because it could cause us to have regression. So let's say Jackson didn't have the start he had to the season because Jackson hasn't been bad all season. People, come on, the first half of the season he was good. Can we agree on that? Right? If you're not agreeing on that, come on, bro.
No, yeah.
Right. The first half it was good. If it was an Osimhen and we could get consistency over the course of 38 games, that's gonna help a player like him.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And if we have another repeat of what Jackson had, we may not make UCL football next year. You get what I'm saying? Those fine margins I don't want to play around with, so we still need some form of experience into the squad. So while the landscape is changing, for those certain positions, don't fluff around with it. That's all I'm asking the board. So we have the Conference League. I am most definitely going to release this episode on after the Conference League final because I want us to take that in and enjoy that. It doesn't make sense asking your predictions, but we win the Conference League. Has this been a successful season for us?
That's your question.
That's a yes. Has this no? But we have to put context. Yes, we had the starts, the agendas at the start of the season. We saw how things go. Is this a successful season for us? And I'm going to ask every guest that comes onto the show for this over the upcoming episodes that I have planned. Simple yes or no. All right, answer.
I'll say yes, but to me, it's establishing a standard, and I hope that when we do establish that standard, this becomes the bare minimum. So I don't want to say it's the bare minimum, but I want to say in the future, I want this to be the bare minimum. But to establish something here and now, this is a successful season to me. You want a trophy. You're an inexperienced manager, an inexperienced team. Everyone doubted you. No one thought you were going to make it to the UCL. To me, you proved all those doubters wrong. You come out with a trophy, which this team needs. This I literally said about experience before. This team needs to experience what it's like to win a trophy. And they got Mudryk aura in the audience. He's gonna be watching, so they got his aura. Conference League Mudryk. They call him the Conference League Neymar from Ukraine. So listen, they. I never want to be in this competition ever again, boys. Let's just get it over with. Call it a successful season and be
move.
happy we can watch. Javon, me and RSM went to bars. We watched UCL. They had bars that had Europa. Nobody watched Conference League, bro. I couldn't find a single bar to watch Conference League.
But no one was going to, bro. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
No one even knows what Conference League is. So like,
come on, man. Chelsea versus
I bet you one thing, though. I bet you one thing, though. We win it, everyone will know what Conference League is.
I hope so.
Much. Robert, let me get your final thoughts before we wrap up.
No, I think was it a successful season? Absolutely. Because it wasn't, to me, actually, I would argue we exceed expectations.
No, yeah, we did.
And, the expectation, I would say for this reason, we came into the season saying top 4 and Champions League was the goal. That's, Wednesday, if all goes right, we're going to achieve it. But to me, what was more important is the growth that this team and this manager went through. Like, if ever there was a season where I wanted Cole Palmer and Jackson to go through a patch like that, it's this one. Like, I don't want them to go once we're challenging for the title. All of a sudden they go.
They go missing.
Yeah, the well runs dry. All of a sudden we're in the middle of a title challenge. You know what I mean? So now Cole Palmer has to adjust mentally to say, you know what? I'm not gonna chase GA anymore. Let me just adjust real quick. Jackson also knows I have competition. I gotta be on my A game every single day, right? And the team learns Maresca style for one more year. They build that grit, that toughness. That we're like, to me, it would have been a successful season if we had achieved top 4, but everything was kind of rosy. I'd be like, yeah, it's successful. But I think the growth and the maturity that everybody in that squad, from the manager to every single player, exhibited throughout this run, especially having to deal with fans, unrest, having to deal with media in your face every single
protest.
day, having the protest.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the
whatever
protest.
they want to say on social media, all the adversity that we went through, and the growth and the experience, and together how he brought this team together. I think it is way more significant, in my opinion, than winning the Conference League, because to me, it has a more lasting impact of how this team, or what this team can achieve, but how quickly they can achieve it going forward. Then, obviously the trophy I want winning the Conference League, but the adversity and how they came out on the other side, I think it's gonna prove to be invaluable into the near future for this team and this manager.
Most definitely. And with that, I concur. Thank you for joining us on the Final Lucy podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Sideline View. More episodes to come. Season recap with some of the bigger boys. and we'll get into some serious discussion. Hey, after the Conference League, it is going to be a summer break for us. But we'll still come here.
Club World Cup.
We'll still have Club World Cup content. We'll still have transfer content, and we still have general football content. So watch out. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe to the boys. Links in the description. Check us out on Twitter. And yeah, people, peace. Up the Chelsea.
Up to Chelsea.
United modded.
UTC. Don't be rude. Don't be mean. Be nice.
United modded.